Gambling in Japan is largely considered illegal under Section 23 of the Criminal Code. Despite this, however, it is still quite prevalent in several different forms. The first of these forms is called Koe Kyogi, which are public races that people can legally bet on. There are various kinds of Koe Kyogi, such as Keiba, which is horse racing, Keirin, bicycle racing, and Kyote, which is motorboat racing. The second prevalent form of Japanese gambling is the karakuji, which are regularly held lotteries. Typically, tickets range from anywhere between 100 to 500 yen, with prizes up to 100 million yen. These lotteries are often sponsored by local government and charities, which receive 50% of the proceeds. Because of this fundraising ability, lotteries are also deemed acceptable in Japan. Lastly, pachinko parlors are places where many people play a vertical pinball-like game where the object is to land a steel ball into a specific hole and thereby win tokens that they can redeem for non-monetary prizes. Because money itself is not involved, the government does not consider this gambling. Often, however, there are secret places near the pachinko parlors that exchange these same tokens for actual money, making it a valid form of gambling.
Gambling has a long, rich history in China. Whether it's cards, dice, or tiles, the Chinese have always embraced a good wager. The oldest form can be found in the ancient game Keno, which was introduced by Zhang Liang around 200 AD during the Han Dynasty. Also popular were various tile-based games like Tiango and Mahjong. While these tile games were originally intended to be for enjoyment, the natural tendency was to start placing bets on the outcomes. Unfortunately, gambling has always been under strict regulatory control in China, but that hasn't stopped secret games from taking place, or its popularity from waning. Today, gambling is more popular than ever, even though it is still technically illegal in most areas. The government has even established sanctioned lottery games and horse racing. This hasn't stopped underground gambling from taking place, however. Every year in China, an estimated 1 trillion yuan is wagered illegally. With this rise in popularity comes a rise in gambling addictions, which currently affect about 700 million Chinese. Ma Honggang, a former gambler, travels throughout China to try and reform gambling addicts by showing them various ways in which gamblers cheat. Unfortunately, most of the addicts are left without many resources, and as gambling continues to grow with the rise of the middle class, so do the victims.
Mahjong, invented in China, is one of the most iconic and prevalent forms of gambling. It involves 136 tiles that are matched and made into a hand to earn points. It involves skill, strategy, and a little bit of luck. It is played openly on the street for fun, but often involves gambling under the table. Fan-tan is similar to roulette, where people place bets on a single or a pair of numbers. It requires minimal materials, just a bunch of beans, pennies, or other small items, a bowl, and a stick, so this is popular historically in rural China. Paigao and Tiangao both use Chinese dominoes. The players draw and match tiles according to the rules of each. Paigao is more popular and has even spread to American casinos. Macau is China's Las Vegas, located on an island in southern China. It is the only place in China where most forms of gambling is legal. Chinese people and people from other Asian countries flock to the beautiful upscale casinos and resorts with 25 million plus visitors annually. It is the most densely populated place on Earth and Asia's single biggest tourist destination. Gambling games involve Chinese and Western games, betting on sports, and horse racing. Gambling revenues here are 5 times that of Las Vegas, at more than $40 billion this year in revenues.
Similar to the policies in other East Asian countries, gambling is prohibited and illegal in South Korea. However, despite this, the Korean government continues to regulate the operation of gambling under restricted circumstances. These reasons may include things such as the promotion of tourism or the promotion of public welfare. Casinos and the sale of lottery tickets called Lotto are 2 major forms of government-regulated gambling. These casinos are usually operated inside qualified domestic hotels and only allow foreigners to enter while banning all Korean nationals from entering. However, South Korean citizens may still participate in inter-casinos located in rural and remote areas, such as the Gangwon Land Casino. Located in the countryside of a former coal mining area, the Gangwon Land Casino is a safe haven for South Korean gamblers. The premise of these exceptions are deemed by the government as policies that do not promote gambling addiction among Korean citizens. Since addiction is considered to be a heavy disgrace in Korean culture, the government puts these laws and exceptions to discourage its occurrence. However, gambling in itself is not an uncommon practice among friends and family. Similar to Western games such as poker, card games are a popular choice. One popular Korean card game is called Go Stop, which uses colorful flower cards known as Hotsu based off of Japanese Hanafuda cards. However, the game itself is original to Korean culture and is typically played among friends in a calm but thrilling environment. As Korea becomes more modernized, the topic of wide-scale gambling continues to be addressed, especially with the prevalence of online gambling. However, the Korean government continues to stick with traditional values to address these issues in the future.
Overall, despite rich historical context, gambling in modern East Asia is largely considered illegal and undesirable. Regardless of this fact, however, gambling is still a major problem and continues to be a large part of the underground economy in Japan, China, and Korea.